Racing Club, find out how to make your wildest dream come true. What would yours be, Rich?
Having a lion on a Sunday morning, actually.
Well, you can't have a lion this Sunday because there's magic from Paul Zennon.
There's music from Boys to Men.
The result of the hedgehog competition and some brilliant cartoons. So...
See you at 9:25.
Now at the MFI sale, Britain's lowest prices guaranteed, or your purchase free. That's the deal on all 31 Hygiena kitchens, all with massive discounts. That's the deal on all 17 Hygiena bedrooms, all with fantastic reductions. Don't miss the MFI sale, now on.
You can wash some germs off baby's bottle. You can scrub some off. But how can you be sure of getting off the ones that cause tummy upsets? Every last one. Milton. Protection for baby. Peace of mind for you.
Shh. One rabbit, one rabbit, one. Here comes the farmer with his gun. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. So one rabbit, one. Hey, what's up, Doc? Whoa, the rabbit's got Weetabix. Run, farmer, quick. Here comes the rabbit with the Weetabix. Yum, now I'll stop your tricks. So run, farmer, quick.
Have you had your Weetabix?
The Debenham's winter sale starts Monday, the 28th of December. Don't be left out in the cold. It's chicken McNuggets that really do it for me. The very sound of it. Nugget.
Fancy Chinese? Yeah.
Nah.
Curry?
Yeah. Nah. McDonald's?
Yeah.
Hello, darling. Did you have a nice birthday? You went to McDonald's?
I could murder a Big Mac.
I mean, what do you really want out of life, Catherine? I mean, really and truly.
I want a McChicken sandwich and a strawberry milkshake.
Tilda American Easy Cook rice is easy to cook, and it won't stick. Tilda.
There's a great big sale at Children's World, but not like the one on the sea. So if you're looking for the Children's World sale, make sure it's sale spelt with an E.
Daphne. Yes, I'd love to. Tuesday the 5th in the evening. Let me just look in my little book.
TV First gives you all the TV and satellite programmes before any other TV guide, so it's easier to plan your social life around your viewing. And because TV First is free, you won't have to buy a TV guide ever again.
Oh, Daff, what a shame I'm seeing Kevin Costner. But I could squeeze you between Clint Eastwood and Gary Lineker.
TV First with the new look people and your stars for 93. First with the people. Tomorrow.
Programmes for Boxing Day.
Is there something fishy going on?
There is when Beadle's about.
I mean, look, I must warn you now. I'm a policeman.
And the Larkins take another honeymoon.
Metaphysically, as Johnny would say, we are in Paris.
But Arthur's fallen on hard times.
Mr. Arthur, we're looking for somebody who's honest, not afraid to learn, and not afraid to do a little hard work.
Well, Hanky, behind me, I'll help you look.
And Alan Bastard is back.
So we'll all be ruined.
Could be good for the country, though.
The country? This is far more important than country. We're talking about the future of the Conservative Party.
With the You Bet Christmas special at 6:30, this is Boxing Day. You're watching Yorkshire Television. Now with the time at just after 4:45, we join ITN for all the latest news and sport.
Hello, welcome to ITN's News and Sports Results Service.
Later on, the full classified soccer results.
The main news this evening. A second British soldier wounded in Bosnia as Minister warns the Serbs must be brought under control.
And today's big sporting story, the fellow from France romps away with Britain's big Boxing Day racing pride.
Another British soldier has been wounded in Bosnia. Lieutenant Justin Freeland from Newbury in Berkshire was hit in the arm when his tank came under mortar fire while crossing Serb lines. He's now in hospital in Vitez, where the British peacekeepers are based.
Once a week, UN convoys from Belgrade take the treacherous mountain route to Tuzla, under the protection of British troops. Today, as the escorting Scimitar light tanks crossed the Serb front line to pick up the convoy, they came under mortar attack, apparently from Serb positions. 3 bombs came down, none hit, but the troop commander, Lieutenant Justin Freeland of the 9th 12th Lancers, was injured in the arm by shrapnel. The attack was in daylight, the UN markings clearly visible.
I don't think we would expect to be attacked on this run, having done, this is the 4th time it's been done, and there's been no serious direct threat to the convoys since the first one. So I think they would have been surprised by this attack.
The 25-year-old officer wasn't seriously hurt and is now back at the main British base at Vitez. Lieutenant Freeland becomes the second British soldier to be injured in Bosnia this week, but despite this latest attack, the army says it will continue to escort the regular weekly convoys from Belgrade. Another target of mortar attacks has been this house, the residence of the UN commander in Sarajevo. 3 bombs landed within meters of his front door, apparently fired from Bosnian positions. Now General Philippe Morillon has moved out of Sarajevo to the UN base at Kosiliak, but not before delivering a strong protest to the Bosnian government. It's another reminder that UN peacekeepers can come under fire from all sides in this war. Jim Buchanan, ITN, Bosnia.
Here, the Overseas Development Minister, Lady Chalker, said today the Serbs had to be brought under control or no region of what was Yugoslavia would be safe.
Well, one hopes that the Serbian leaders will actually control the Bosnian Serbs. They're not all under a single command, that's quite clear. But it is everybody who has to stop fighting, and that is what Lord Owen and Cy Vance are seeking to achieve with all the negotiation which will go on regardless. Because unless they all stop fighting one another, these poor people in Bosnia are going to be in worse and worse trouble.
A 24-year-old man has become the second person to die after an accident in Bristol in which a car ploughed into a group of Christmas partygoers. He was one of 9 injured when the car mounted the pavement outside a rugby club. A young mother was killed.
Flowers and tears for the victims of a senseless road accident. All day, the villagers of Keynsham brought their tributes to the gates of the rugby club where a car ploughed into 30 partygoers. A Christmas tragedy which has blighted dozens of families. Sarah Manell, just 21, died after her first night out since the birth of her baby son, Bradley. Today, the club's flag at half-mast for their second victim, Richard Barnett, a 24-year-old player who'd been celebrating.
He was a fairly new member of the club, enthusiastic, young, and learning the game, and enjoying it very much in the lower side, and was very popular.
It's understood Mr. Barnett was to have played here today in the traditional Boxing Day fixture that was cancelled as a mark of respect for the 2 victims who died and the 1 man still in critical condition in hospital. The driver of the car tested positive for alcohol after the accident. He's been released on bail while the police gather evidence. He may not be charged for several days. Howell Jones, ITN, Bristol.
A man charged with the murder of the 99-year-old widow Sarah Burke has been remanded in custody by magistrates in Penzance. Del Hampson, who's 21 and from Redruth in Cornwall, will appear in court again next Thursday. Mrs. Burke was attacked in her bed at a residential home in Redruth last Sunday. A UN envoy will arrive in Israel this evening to protest about the 400 Palestinians deported to southern Lebanon. The International Red Cross said Israel's refusal to allow humanitarian aid to the men was heartless. Paul Davis at ITN reports.
Conditions are rapidly deteriorating for the 415 Palestinians as they wait on the frozen mountainside, expelled from Israel, denied access to Lebanon, and now cut off from all humanitarian aid. This evening, the last food and fuel was being distributed, Despite appeals from the Red Cross, both Israel and Lebanon are refusing to allow help through to the deportees. As the snow falls, the Palestinians say they are running out of essential supplies.
The water, polluted water, food, it's finished now. There is no food, no water.
Earlier, when several of the Palestinians were taken ill, they were transported to a Lebanese hospital for treatment, but delivered back to the camp a short time later. Neither Israel nor Lebanon is prepared to take any action that can be interpreted as accepting responsibility for the deportees. Today, in the security zone, there was a gun battle between Israeli-backed militia and Palestinian guerrillas who'd infiltrated the security area. One Palestinian was shot dead. It's not clear if the guerrillas were heading for the deportees' camp. Tonight, the Lebanese government appealed to America to put pressure on Israel to rescind the deportation before the Palestinians begin to die.
The head of the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland has appealed to the IRA to extend its Christmas truce. Cardinal Cathal Daly says the Republican movement should enter the political arena.
From Armagh City, the heart of the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland, a message from the primate aimed directly at the provisional IRA leadership and an appeal for them to extend their three-day ceasefire due to end at midnight tonight.
In the interests of their cause, they should find ways in which they can bring forward a formula which has some hope of success in ending their campaign. And again, I would say, look, time is not on your side.
Cardinal Daly referred to a speech made 10 days ago by the Northern Ireland Secretary, Sir Patrick Mayhew, in which he said if the IRA gave up violence, a talks process with Sinn Féin could be feasible.
The democratic process excludes violence and excludes, when you go to a table, having guns on the table, under the table, or outside the door.
1992 has been a year which has seen both Catholic and Protestant church leaders trying to pave moves towards peace. But they, like the politicians, have so far failed. And there are no outward signs of the violent minority using any other means but the gun and the bomb in their strategy for 1993. Andrew Simmons, ITN, in Armagh.
President Bush has found himself under investigation after pardoning 6 former Reagan administration officials last week for their involvement in the Iran-Contra scandal. He's been accused of doing it to cover up his role in the affair.
The man charged with investigating the Iran-Contra scandal now has his sights set on President Bush. Bush's Christmas Eve pardons found Washington empty of all politicians. The timing might have been deliberate, but the affair is still set to muddy his last weeks in the White House. This is the only glimpse the public have been allowed of the president on retreat at Camp David.
Even if there are no further consequences, he has shown an arrogant disdain for the rule of law. There was no excuse for pardoning these persons.
President-elect Bill Clinton said he was concerned by any action which sends a signal, if you work for the government, you're above the law. The independent prosecutor says President Bush may have illegally withheld documents. The Iran-Contra scandal was exposed in 1986, an arms for hostages swap with Iran, which secretly funded the Contras' fight in Nicaragua. Bush only revealed this month that he possessed notes covering that crucial period when he was vice president. Notes that would show just how much he really knew.
And I was not aware of, and I oppose any diversion of funds, any ransom payments.
The presidential pardons, some analysts say, have completed a cover-up over the Iran-Contra scandal. But many leading Republicans say the multi-million-pound investigation has been nothing but a politically motivated and malicious Grand Inquisition. David Chater, ITN, in Washington.
Police in Shropshire are hunting a man who raped a woman pensioner as she walked home from midnight mass on Christmas Eve. Detectives say they're linking the rape to an earlier attack on a 25-year-old woman.
The pensioner had been among 300 worshippers taking part in midnight mass at a church in the centre of Ludlow. Afterwards, as she walked home in the early hours of Christmas morning, the rapist struck. He dragged her into the grounds of a local museum before subjecting her to the 40-minute ordeal. Police say it was a wicked crime.
Absolutely shocking, despicable crime to happen on the Christmas morning when in particular the 67-year-old lady was going home and obviously later in the day was going to join her family for a Christmas gathering.
Ludlow is a small market town. Police believe the attacker, who's in his 30s, may have been passing through. About an hour before the rape, in another part of town, a man had attempted to assault a 25-year-old woman after dragging her from the road, but she managed to break free. Police believe the same man carried out both the attacks. Tonight, they're examining a video taken from a local garage on which the rapist may have been filmed. Anya Sitharam, ITN, Ludlow.
The author Monica Dickens, the great-granddaughter of Charles Dickens, has died. She was 77 and had been suffering from cancer. Monica Dickens made her reputation with her first book, One Pair of Hands, based on her experience in domestic service. She was also involved with the Samaritans and started the organisation's American movement. For skiing enthusiasts, it's time to start packing the bags for the slopes. But for beginners, learning to ski can be a chilly, even painful experience. Now the scientists have come up with something that could give your skiing just the lift it might need.
Learning to ski has never been simpler. You can even do it in a suit and tie. If, that is, you can afford the latest virtual reality machine. With a computer display strapped to your head, you can tackle any piste you fancy. The computer shows you the ski slope ahead, and all you have to do is complete the slalom. Metal plates under your feet, controlled by the computer, mimic the sensation of hurtling downhill at breakneck speed. As you guide your skis, a sensor in the black bandage on your finger measures your pulse rate. If the stress is too much, the computer changes the route and guides you onto a gentler slope. It also measures how much weight you put on each ski, and for the enthusiast it could be an invaluable training aid. It doesn't, however, simulate après-ski entertainment.
Now for the real sports news, David Bobin.
Well, on a day when 15 matches were lost through bad weather around the country, the Premier League leaders Norwich were held to a goalless draw at home by Spurs. But Alan Shearer, meanwhile, scored 2 goals for third-place Blackburn as they beat Leeds 3-1. Manchester United came back from the very brink of defeat at Hillsborough this afternoon, 3 second-half goals in 15 minutes, earning them a share of the points in a 3-3 draw. David Hurst opened the scoring for Wednesday after only 2 minutes. 2 more goals from Mark Bright and John Sheridan put Wednesday 3-0 up. But United's Brian McClare led the fight back with 2 goals after 67 and 80 minutes, and then Eric Cantona scored a crucial equaliser, his 84th minute goal enough to bring United a valuable away point. Second-placed Aston Villa, though, they slumped to a 3-goal defeat at Coventry. 2 more goals there for Mick Quinn, and that now means 10 goals in just 6 matches for him. He's looking like the bargain of the season. And Rangers' Ali McCoist notched up number 34 of the season this afternoon. After only 7 minutes at Dundee, they won 3-1. A full classified check in just a moment. Well, Boxing Day soccer always used to mean big derby games. They've split most of those fixtures up nowadays. But Charlton did today take on West Ham, the club they lodged with, while the Valley was being renovated. The result, a 1-1 draw.
West Ham and Charlton used to share the same ground, but there was little sign of neighbourly affection today. A free kick from this incident, and Julian Dix stepped up to give the visitors an early lead. The Hammers dominated the first half and really should have wrapped it up. Only the Charlton keeper Bob Boulder kept his team in touch. After the break, Charlton came out a different side, and this time it was West Ham who had to soak up the pressure. With 10 minutes to go, Charlton got their reward, John Bumstead forcing home the equaliser, with a little help from the upright. Even then, West Ham could still have had all 3 points. Trevor Morley played himself through, but forgot he still had to beat the goalie. West Ham must hope future visits to the Valley will be a little more rewarding.
Well, racegoers at Kempton Park saw a blistering performance by the French horse The Fellow in the King George VI steeplechase today. He really ran away with the £70,000 prize for the 2nd year in succession.
All eyes were on the French invader The Fellow for the big Boxing Day prize at Kempton Park. The gelding, with a reputation as Europe's best steeplechaser, won the King George last year and was Even's favourite to do so again. From the start, The Fellow, with jockey Adam Condra in the crimson colours on the outside here, settled in comfortably behind the early pacemakers. He was in exactly the same place at the last, where a mistake by the Illiwacker in the centre gave him a clear run to the finish, streaking past Pat Jester.
Jester on the far side, and it's The Fellow
Now the Cheltenham Gold Cup looks the likely next target for a Gallic conquest.
So the starting price is there. First, the Fellow, Evans favourite. Second was Pat's Jester at 10-1. And third, the Illywacker at 20-1. Well, right now it's time for a full classified check of today's soccer results. Here's Bob Colston.
And we begin with the FA Premier League. Arsenal 0, Ipswich 0. Blackburn 3, Leeds 1. Chelsea 1, Southampton 1. Coventry 3, Aston Villa 0. Crystal Palace 2, Wimbledon 0. Everton 2, Middlesbrough 2. Manchester City against Sheffield United is a late result. Norwich 0, Tottenham 0. Nottingham Forest against Queen's Park Rangers is a panel result. It's a home win, 1 point. Oldham against Liverpool match postponed. And Sheffield Wednesday 3, Manchester United 3. Barclays League Division 1, Birmingham against Sunderland is a panel result. It's an away win, 1.5 points. Brentford 2, Derby 1. Bristol City 1, Oxford 1. Cambridge United against Peterborough is a panel result. It's an away win, 1.5 points. Charlton 1, West Ham 1. Grimsby 4, Barnsley 2. Leicester against Notts County is a panel result, home win, 1 point. And Luton against Swindon is another panel result. It's away win, 1.5 points. Newcastle 2, Wolves 1. Portsmouth 4, Bristol Rovers 1. Southend 1, Watford 2. And Tranmere 1, Millwall 1. Division 2, Blackpool 3, Bradford 3. Bolton 2, Wigan 1. Bournemouth 0, Swansea 2. Brighton 3, Burnley 0. Exeter 2, Plymouth 0. Hartlepool 1, Hull 0. Huddersfield against Preston is a panel result. It's a home win, 1 point. Leyton Orient 0, Fulham 0. And Port Vale against Mansfield is another panel result. Another home win, 1 point. Reading 0, Stoke 1. Rotherham versus Stockport, panel result. Away win, 1.5 points. And West Bromwich Albion 2, Chester 0. Division 3, Cardiff 3, York 3. Chesterfield Lincoln, panel result. Away win, 1.5 points. Crewe 0, Wrexham 1. Darlington Carlisle, panel result. Home win, 1 point. Gillingham 1, Bury 4. Halifax 2, Doncaster 2. Hereford 1, Shrewsbury 1. Northampton 1, Colchester 0. Rochdale 2, Scunthorpe 0. Scarborough against Barnet is a panel result. Home win, 1 point. And Torquay 0, Walsall 1. Beezer Holmes League, Atherstone Corby Town is a panel result. Home win, 1 point. Bashley 3, Waterlooville 0. Burton against VS Rugby is a panel result. 2 points for a no-score draw. And Chelmsford 1, Cambridge City 1. Scottish League, Premier Division. Celtic 0, Dundee United 1. Dundee 1, Rangers 3. Falkirk 3, Hibernian 3. Hearts 1, Partick Thistle 1. Motherwell 0, Aberdeen 2. And St Johnstone 1, Airdrie 0. Scottish Division 1, Dumbarton 3, Morton 1. Hamilton 4, Cowdenbeath 0. Kilmarnock 2, Dunfermline 3. And 2 matches not on the pools, Wraith Rovers 1, Ayr 1. And St Mirren 3, Clydebank 2. Scottish Division 2, these matches not on the pools, Alloa 4, Albion 0. East Fife 0, Stranraer 1. East Stirling 0, Brechin 0. Forfar against Montrose was abandoned with the score 0-0 after 20 minutes. And Queen's Park 2, Stenhouse Muir 2. Tennant Scottish Cup, second round. Huntly against Queen of the South was postponed. And finally, Inverness Thistle 0, Berwick 1.
Well, now let's see what difference today's matches have made to the league table, starting with the English Premier League. And there we are, Norwich still at the top, although, of course, they missed a chance to extend that lead, only drawing 0-0 at home. Blackburn, of course, beating Leeds 3-1. And I think we can also go to the bottom of the Premier League. We should be seeing that one now. Forest, of course, their game was off because of the bad weather. but other teams deep in trouble still, Wimbledon, Sheffield United and Oldham. And we go to the top of the Scottish Premier. There we are, Rangers and Aberdeen, a good afternoon for them. They both won. Celtic, though, disappointingly for their supporters, losing at home by 1-0 to Dundee United. Well, now a chance to see if there's been any progress in the late kick-off matches. I think just one this afternoon. There it is, Manchester City 2, Sheffield United 0. And a look now, all important of course, at Christmas, at how those pools coupon results are affected. And no claims required is the news from the football companies. 13 score draws, 4 no score draws, all results are in, dividends are going to be low. So a quick run through those 13 score draws. Number 3, 6, 10, 13, 15, 22, 23, 35, 40, 41, 49, 52 and 53, and the 4 no-score draws, numbers 1, 8, 30 and 48. Once again, no claims required. It looks as if there's no jackpot this week. That's the sport.
And I'll be back with our late bulletin tonight at 11:10. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello there, good evening. It's been a dull day in many places, and tonight we're going to have the same sort of problems with dull, cloudy skies and some fog forming already dense in some central and northern parts of England there. So freezing fog in places overnight as the temperatures once again fall below freezing. Now tomorrow morning a little bit of clear air comes into southern counties of England, so bright to start down there. Bright also in some parts of Scotland, but elsewhere fairly misty. Fog around to begin with, and some of that fog lingering throughout the afternoon, particularly for those northern parts of the Midlands and central and northern England there, but also some brighter breaks, chiefly over southern counties of England, but also over Scotland. Despite the brightness, it's still going to be a cold day, particularly if you're stuck in fog all day, where it may struggle to get above freezing once again. So there you are, cold day tomorrow and some more frost and fog this evening. Good evening to you.
Now our region's forecast. A dry night is expected, but it will be mostly cloudy and rather misty with fog in places. In the south of the region, the clouds will break at times, allowing a slight frost to develop here and there, with the lowest temperature being -2 degrees centigrade, that's 28 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow will remain mostly cloudy and misty, with some patchy fog, but in the south of the region there may be a few brighter intervals in the afternoon. Winds blowing from the northeast will be light, and the maximum temperature 4 degrees centigrade, that's 39 Fahrenheit. So that's the forecast. I'll leave you with a summary of tomorrow's weather. Mostly cloudy, dry but misty.
Tell you what they have got, which is really, really very good, and that is the oysters.
An aphrodisiac.
Yes, they got them and all.
The Darling Buds of May, Boxing Day at 7:30.
Now on Yorkshire, David Hasselhoff is our host for a behind-the-scenes look at the new Baywatch.